Hello, and welcome to the WWIA Podcast. We're honored to have you join us in our mission to bring honor, connection, and healing to America's combat-wounded Purple Heart heroes. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, we welcome you. If you're a returning listener, thanks for coming back. Please be sure to tell others about our podcast and leave us a review if you're enjoying what you're hearing. Alaska is truly the last frontier, filled with expansive beauty, bountiful wildlife, and boundless adventures. Every year for the past 11 years, our Purple Heart heroes have traveled to Seward, Alaska to partake in several days of world-class fishing, sightseeing, exploring, and more at WWIA's Alaska Halibut fishing event. This is a unique and unforgettable experience for our combat-wounded veterans. On this latest episode of the WWIA Podcast, WWIA Founder and CEO John McDaniel welcomes the host of this stellar event, Mr. John Moline. John is the owner of Current Affair Charters and Kenai Fjords Bed and Breakfast in beautiful Seward, Alaska, where he expertly navigates the local waters to give people an elite and memorable fishing experience. John is also a modest but outstanding cook, as he often prepares delicious meals for his guests with some of their fresh catches of the day. He's a proud veteran of the armed forces, having served primarily in the U.S. Navy and also in the U.S. Army Reserves. During his time in the service, he worked on electronics, communications, and navigation systems, and developed a love and skill set for fishing the coastal waters of Alaska that soon turned into a full-time profession that he has continued for more than 2 decades. This is an outstanding episode that we're excited to share with you. So without further delay, let's jump into the conversation now.
Hi, I'm John McDaniel, founder and CEO of the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation, and this is our podcast, Honor, Connect, and Heal. Well, you know, I say this pretty much every time, but I'm going to say it again just because it's true. Very honored, to have this great gentleman with us today. John Moline, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. And so I'll set the stage real quick. John has been supporting the foundation for at least 11 years. It might be coming up on 12. But he lives up in Alaska. He is a charter captain up there in the great state. And you're out of Seward. Is that not right?
That's correct. Seward. Yep.
Seward, Alaska. Yep. Been there, done that. I was stationed up in Alaska. I was in Fairbanks for a while, and then I did a permanent change of station and went down to the Anchorage area there to command. So I'm real familiar and love Alaska. What a great place. It really is. But you are a charter captain, and the name of your charter business is Current Affair Charters. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's I changed the name of the company about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at a picture, and I just love the pictures, man. I mean, of your event. And by the way, it's quite a stretch to get our heroes from wherever they are up to Alaska. I mean, it is the last frontier, and it is planes, trains, and automobiles. It's a very resource intensive, no pun intended, but it's a very resource intensive mission for us. But I got to tell you, the smiles that we see, the stories that I hear, the results that you produce are just phenomenal. And I want to, first off, John, thank you. You and I have never met. I've wanted to get up there, but I started a family late in life, and things with the business, and I got 1,000 excuses.
Understood. Happens all the time.
I beg your pardon. I genuinely do. But we've done really good at sending my key staff and key people that are really important to the foundation up there to have that experience. And all of them say the same thing. They say, lifetime of memories, an amazing place. You're an amazing captain, and I just want to thank you for all that you've done, because everybody goes home with a cooler full of meat. I see all these pictures of these, halibut, and I want to get into talking about fishing in Alaska, and you're probably the best guy on the planet to do that with.
Well, I do love I love it. It's to me, it's my hobby. It's not a job. It's not a career.
Mm.
It's a hobby, and I was lucky enough to actually turn into making a living for me. So
Right.
I get to do everything that I like, and have a great time doing it.
Awesome. And you're also a veteran. I understand you were in the Navy for just over 10 years, right? I mean, you were on active duty in the Navy. Is that true?
That's correct. Yep. I was in for about 7.5 years, got out for about a year and a half. During that time, I actually joined the Army Reserve,
Okay.
and then did the 2 weeks active over in South Korea, came back, finished out that year, went back in the Navy after they stopped taking veterans back in,
Mm-hmm.
and went to a position out on Adak, Alaska, was in for another 2 years. So just over 10 years, about 10 and a half
Mm-hmm.
years active duty Navy. Yep.
Awesome. Well, and then what did you do in the Navy? I mean, what was your position? What did they train you to do?
I did electronics repair on the ship and based out of San Diego. I worked with communications, transmitters, receivers, crypto equipment, to keep secure communications. Worked on a few things with navigation. The first,
Okay.
basically GPS, it was called SatNav or satellite navigation.
Yeah.
They bounced me around on a helicopter from ship to ship when their system went down, because I was the only tech for a while amongst 17 vessels. So it was pretty good bouncing around from ship to ship.
As a captain myself, a 6-pack guy, and a lifetime fisherman. I grew up on a lake in Wisconsin, and then I've been in Florida, fishing the saltwater from the Keys all the way up into the Panhandle, if you will. I mean, all over Florida, and I've fished up in Alaska for 4 years when I was up there, But when you combine a captain with some the ability to and understanding electronics as an example, I tell you what, man, that I swear to God, that's the one thing that just always bamboozles me, man, with boats, because especially as in a saltwater environment, right, it's very corrosive.
Oh yeah.
And if you understand how to troubleshoot, and you understand wiring, and and how electricity and amperes and watts and all this other stuff. I mean, just throwing those words out there like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. But if you can do that to troubleshoot electronics, and everything from, like you say, your GPS, your GLONASS system, whatever you got going there, radar, to include just the mechanical aspects of the vessel, that from the battery to the starter to the ignition switch, all the lights, and if you can do that, things like the bilge pump, if you can get all that stuff straight and troubleshoot it without having to haul it in for an expert, man, you are way ahead of the game as far as I'm concerned. And I imagine that I assume what the Navy trained you to do is come in handy. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, very much so. With the Navy, especially with all the equipment, it was all about preventive maintenance.
Right.
Do everything you have to do to keep it in peak condition so you don't have failures. It's not one of those things where, if something goes wrong, you can just pull over and stick your thumb out and wait for somebody to come by. So. Right.
What kind of ship were you on, John?
I was on a frigate, FF 1051. It was USS O'Callahan, based out of San Diego, 32nd Street down there. So.
Interesting. A frigate. That's what the French would say. I did some counter drug and counter terrorist operations with some of our French friends, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was this is a long time ago, and the French commander, who was a Navy commander, was the equivalent of a frogman, or he was a frogman, not the equivalent. He was a frogman, equivalent of our Navy SEALs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The French have that; they have those guys, and he was classic French. He's just, I love this guy. Francois de Boer was his name, and he. And Francois was a frogman, and he used to pronounce, because the French would bring their frigates in to support certain missions that we were doing, and of course I had to go to Fort de France to check some of that stuff out. And anyway, Francois would pronounce the word frigate as a frigate. He would say, just every time I hear the word frigate, I think of good old Francois Deboer. I hope someday you're listening to this, pal. Thanks for, all you did for, our country, believe it or not, and way of supporting, missions and catching bad guys. No, but not a lot of people know about that, but that's what happened. Anyway, so tell us about, you fish for halibut. You obviously are chasing, the darn salmon and the different types of salmon that are running around. Tell us about, your experience and what you like to do, and what's a typical day in the life of a charter captain up in Alaska, because you kind of got a short season, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Way back when I first started, 01, 02, my very first trip was on April, 18th, the very first trip. And I had the boat, had the experience, all that stuff. I had just got off of ADAC, fishing out there, fisher out there early season. I had fished 4 or 5 years on my own boat and finally decided I'm sick and tired of being an electrician and having to work 90 hours a week for somebody else. Yeah. If I'm going to work that kind of hours, I'm going to be my own boss and enjoy what I do. So
sure.
My very first trip was actually April 15th and surprised a lot of people. It was a great load of fish that we brought back in, and all the other charter captains and companies were walking down the docks looking at the fish hanging up, and they're like, whoa, we don't even normally start up for another 3-4 weeks. What are you doing? It's like, well, just got to know where to go catch fish. So
right.
It turned into a competition. The bigger companies started dropping their prices, spring specials, stuff like that. So typically my season now, I open up right around May 15th, somewhere between the 10th and 15th. There's just really not enough tourism up there because the kids aren't out of school yet down here in lower 48, or as Alaskans say, well, down there in America, the kids are still in school. So, that's kind of our joke up there, calling it down in America. So, but typically May 15, this year I shut her down a little bit early. Economic reasons, just wasn't a lot of people that had the funds to be able to go fishing. So typically I run to about September 10 or 15, somewhere in there. This year I shut her down on the 1st. So let's talk about the species, right? So first off, halibut. I mean, I think a lot of folks know what halibut is. They probably see it in the store, but I mean, these things are, they can get huge, like close to 400 pounds, can't they? Actually up over that.
Okay. Yeah. They can get monster, but most of the ones that everybody catches, the ones that are the best eaten anyway, are usually about in a 60, 70 pound range. Does that sound about right to you?
As far as flavor, texture, all that good stuff, anything between, in my opinion, if it was up to me, I would not eat a fish that's bigger than 25 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
15 to 25 pounders gives you a perfect 1 to 1 1/4 inch thick fillet. And it's kind of the same thing with a steak. It's kind of hard to get the center cooked just the way you want it without overcooking the outside when you start getting thicker than that. A 50-pound fish, the main fillet sections would be about 2 to 2.5 inches thick. 100-pound fish, you're talking 3.5 inch thick fillet. So, it's, if people grow a garden, for instance, they don't wait until that carrot is 3 inches in diameter and a foot tall down on the ground and it's got a seed head on it. They don't want that great big monster thing. They're going to pick that carrot when it's 4, 5, 6 inches long and it's nice and sweet, tender, juicy. That's the same thing with the fish. It's kind of a toss-up because people want to fill up their cooler and make the trip worthwhile and bring fish home. And we understand that. Typically people, that 50, 60, 70 pound range, once you start getting over that, a lot of people that have done it before say, let's let that one go. And, if things are good, but if they're not, if they're not jumping in a boat for us that day, well, pretty much it's kind of like putting $10 in a slot machine in Vegas, You might hit a winner, you might not. So, if you throw in $10 and you get a $20 winner, do you really play it back, or, do you stick that in your pocket and take it home because it's going to be a good eating fish? So.
I went on a charter out of Seward when my dad came to visit me. I don't want to say it was probably for let's just drop the marker at the 1996 time frame. I'm guessing I have to go back a while, but I would say 96. And he brought a high school mate, and I brought my fire support officer with me, and the four of us went fishing out of Seward. And then we went down to the Kenai, and we're wrestling with the big salmon, the kings.
Yep.
And anyway, we fished Soldotna and a few other places too. I mean, I just love fishing, but we were aboard a vessel, and it was a party. I want to say it was a party boat, but how those things work. Like you got four of us, but the guy's got room for like 6 or 8 or whatever. So he takes a party of 2, whatever it is, right? I mean, it just makes the most sense. And that's what happened. So the four of us were on board, and there was another party of 2 or 3. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, all of a sudden, boom, and we're fishing for halibut. So we're deep dropping, the big lead weights, as you know, big circle hooks, salted herring, as I recall. And we're just dropping this stuff down to 200, 350 feet or something like this. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, boom, it's this guy's turn, and his rod goes off. And, you could tell it was a different fish, like by the way it was pulling. It's like pulling as they say, a big piece of plywood off the bottom of the ocean floor when you get one of these big fish. And so he gets it and he brings it up. And I want to say I have a picture of it, and don't quote me on it, but it was a derby fish, right? So that's what you can get into you can get into these pools where it's like a derby. So you say you give some money, and I don't know how it works, or I don't recall how it worked, but the idea was you could enter this derby, and some of the captains will get in it. I'm sure a lot of them, you probably do too. But anyway, so it was 256 pounds when they got it, when we got it in the boat. And I was like, I don't know how you're going to get this thing in the boat, man.
Right.
So dude takes a shot, takes a, I think it was a 38. I think it was a 38, like a bang stick. And I wasn't ready for that either, but you get this thing next to the side of the boat, and bam, because you got to kill it to get it in.
Yep.
Unbelievable, man. 256 pound halibut. And I was just like, honest to God, I think to this day, that is the biggest fish I've ever been that close to. That was just a monster fish, man.
Yep.
Monster. Yeah.
It's,
you ever catch anything like that?
Yeah. We did several times. My largest is 383 pounds.
Oh, good Lord. What do you do with that? Feed it to the dogs? I mean, if if it's no good, is it good? I'm sure you can eat it. It's a question of if you would want to.
Right. It's still edible and everything. I didn't know so much at the time. A brand new beginner. I was really excited. Here's this huge trophy. Oh, let's kill this thing. Makes great pictures and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And sat down to start eating some and said, well, even though it kind of tastes like halibut, it's real coarse, grainy. This is kind of like eating a 20-year-old milk cow. So I guess this is going to be family fish when we fly back home. We're going to do a big, deep fried fish fry. So everybody will like that stuff. That's what it's good for. And that's kind of when I started saying, hey, keep the smaller fish for the better eating. As a matter of fact, the first 4 or 5 years I was in business, I told people flat out, you're probably going to catch a fish over 125 pounds on this boat today. And if whoever catches that and brings it up, we'll get great pictures of it and stuff like that. If you let it go, I'll give you half off your next trip.
Yeah, that's smart.
So
the big ones are the breeders anyway, aren't they? Are those the females?
The bigger ones, the largest male ever caught is 50 pounds. Right at 50 pounds. So yes, it's true. No, they don't change sex. Once they get so big, they don't turn female. Mm-hmm. They're, sorry to put it this way, but they're either born male or female. That's it. That's nature. So the females are the bigger ones, the same as the eagles. The female eagle has to provide all the protein and energy to produce the egg and stuff like that. So typically the female eagle is larger. Mm-hmm. But the halibut, in reality, the main breeders and spawners are between 30 and 100 pounds. Those would be what you would consider your breeding age females. The larger fish, yes, they put out a lot of eggs, but a lot of them aren't so viable anymore.
Interesting.
Start thinking that it's the same thing with in the human species.
Sure.
Women, once they hit 50, 60 years old, yeah, there's still eggs there, but, well, they're not so fertile.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
And that's what it is.
And so I got to ask you, like, you obviously you live up there. You've been fishing up there as a professional for a long time. What is, in your opinion, the best fish for table fare that up in Alaska where you're fishing that you could catch or have caught? All things being equal, what's that fish?
To me, the best eating fish up there is a rockfish.
Really?
Halibut is to me is a non-fish eater's fish. It doesn't taste like fish. It tastes like whatever you cook it with. So if you like something like a mango peach chutney on top, perfect.
Yeah.
If you like something with lime and pineapple, if you like Thai, with pineapple and peppers and stuff, it tastes like whatever you cook it with. So
it's mild, right? I mean, it's just a mild fish.
Yeah,
anyway, right?
It has no fish flavor whatsoever. It's just a white meat filler. But, I mean, it's very, very popular because it's not fishy. So, to me, the rockfish is the best table fare. It tastes very similar to your snapper or your grouper, your small to medium-sized grouper. It has a little bit of fish flavor. It's firm. It cooks up firm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice flaky white meat, and it has a little bit of fish flavor to it. So, to me, in the Midwest, you mentioned growing up in the Wisconsin area.
Yeah.
The rockfish is like our saltwater crappies. If you pull a crappie through the ice, it's very hard to beat that for table fare.
Yeah. And like a walleye too. I mean, I think where I grew up,
exactly,
still in a perch. I mean, if you talk to the folks that live up there, which I do a lot, and did live up there, visit up there a lot. It's just hard to beat, a walleye or a perch. It's just phenomenal white meat, fresh water fish, but phenomenal white meat. And that's what you're saying about the rockfish, right?
Yep. Well, we do have something in common, and I haven't discussed this with you, but I was raised in Northwest Wisconsin.
I'll be darned. I didn't know that. Where?
Lake Holcomb.
Lake Holcomb.
Yeah, your camp's only about 40 miles from where I was raised.
You know what? That's how I got connected to you. Through Tommy Schenk.
Yep, Tom Schenk.
God dang, I knew it. Okay, say.
Old Bogey's Bar. Yep, that was.
Old Bogey's Bar. I was like, Holcomb, I know that name. Yeah, Tommy's there. And then I was like, ding. So what'd you do? Go into. I love it. So what'd you do? Go into the bar, meet Tommy, and you got to yakking. He's like, hey, I know this dude I was in the Rangers with, and yada yada yada. And the next thing you know, we're sending heroes up to you. Is that the Cliff Notes?
Pretty much. It happened pretty similar to that. Yep, I came back down for deer season and visiting family, stuff like that. And just happened to walk into the bar with my cousin, one night after hunting, and Tom served us up. I think we shot a couple games of pool, stuff like that. And Tom said, "Hey, you were in the military, weren't you?" I said, "Oh yeah," because I'd already seen him for 5-6 years prior to that. And he goes,
"Yeah.
You know what? Hang on here." And he starts looking around behind the bar, looking around. He's like, "Dang, I know I got it somewhere here." And he finally found it. It was a business card.
Oh, cool.
And it was for you. And he put it on the bar, and he says, I just want you to. I'm not asking for any commitment. Just check this place out. Check out what this organization is. Maybe it's for you. Yeah. So I didn't think much about it. That was in November time frame for the deer season here in Wisconsin. And sometime around January, February, going through my suitcase, just making sure everything was out, and it's like, oh, what's this? It was a business card laying in the bottom of the top pouch, I was packing up to go on another trip. It's like, oh, wow. Well, maybe I'll check this out. So I did. I went on a website, and I brought back a whole lot of memories. That's one of the things I miss most about being in the military is the camaraderie.
Right.
Shared experiences. But yeah, I was introduced through your organization through Tom Schenk. I've seen him a couple times since then. He's very happy and appreciative. He makes rods and reels and stuff.
Chippewa River Custom Rods, Tommy Shank.
There you go. Yep.
There's the connection with Current Affair Charters. And that's how they find you on the website, right? If somebody wants to go up to Alaska,
Yep.
Current Affair Charters, Current Affair Charters, right?
Yep. Current Affair Charters, charters with an S.com.
Okay. Very good. Excellent.
I still keep
our connection is Ranger Shank. Unbelievable, man. Let me tell you this story, because I've never told this story. Now that we're talking about, Tommy. So I'm in the Florida Keys. Let's just say this is 2006. Like the foundation really, start in 07. We're getting our legs under us. 08, 09, we get our 501c3 status in 09, but I'm doing the work, right? I don't need a piece of paper,
right?
Okay,
right.
To go do good. I don't need the government to sprinkle holy water on me and say I'm a charity to do this work.
Yep.
And here's a news flash for you, for anybody who's interested. You don't need a piece of paper to go do good.
No.
You need the piece of paper so that you can, if you decide to end up raising money and growing your organization in a charity, you need that piece of paper so that people can get a tax benefit. That's one of the ideas of a charity. Somebody's going to donate money, they get a tax break, and you as the proprietor or the charity don't have to pay taxes on that money that you got donated to you. Right. So that's what the 501c3 status gains you as a charity, as a recognized charity by the IRS, the United States government. All right, there's your paid political advertisement for the day. So I'm sitting there in the Florida Keys. The foundation. I'm doing onesies at the time. Okay.
Right.
I'm in the Florida Keys. I have a property there. And I'm also have one here in Tampa Bay and Camp Hackett, so I'm just doing this by myself, and I'm doing individuals, because I got guys, that were, at the time, friends of mine who were battalion and brigade commanders who, were fighting the war. The war was raging at this time still. I mean, 05, 6, 7, 8, 9, those are all pretty tough years for the home team over there.
Yep.
Guys are getting chewed up bad. And so my buddies are calling me up going, hey man, I got this dude, his name's Humma, super guy. He's in Miami as an example. Why don't you give him a call and see if you can get him out, fishing or something. I said, okay, roger that. So the website was viable, and I was doing this, by myself, basically. And so the phone rings. I'm in the Florida Keys. I didn't have a mission going on. I was just kind of getting my gear together. I remember I was sitting on the porch. The phone rings. I pick it up, and that guy on the other end goes, is this John McDaniel? I said, it is. He goes, hey, John. He introduces himself. I'm Tommy Shank. He goes, were you in the Rangers? And I go, yes, I was. He goes, which battalion were you in? I said, 3rd Battalion. He goes, what company? And these questions, you get down, who was your first sergeant? All this stuff, right? So I get all the right answers. And finally, I'm getting a little bit, like, okay, where's this going, sort of thing. And he goes, well, I was in the same company with you. And he goes, I remember you. And I go, oh, okay, perfect, man. What's going on? And so he starts telling me, listen, I saw an article. He says, I saw an article about you, in On Wisconsin Outdoors. He goes, I remember the article. They did an article about me, helping combat wounded veterans. Yep, they sure did. Tommy read the article, found me somehow, called me up, chatted me up. And Tommy was like the first guy in Wisconsin to actually reach out and offer, not just offer assistance, but bring it. Tommy would deliver, he would fish all winter long, stockpile fish, bring it to camp, donated rods, brings his dog Pippa to support our hunting events, just a great American. And that's how that conversation went. He was like the first dude who ever reached out to me from Wisconsin. And now Wisconsin, some 18 years later, is the foundation's most vibrant state, if you are tracking it by the number of activities and the goodness that those activities are producing. It's a very, very vibrant state. So shout out to Tommy, eh?
Yep, absolutely. I've been watching every year or so. I go onto the site and I see the different events that are coming up, and it's amazing the growth. I want to congratulate you on that. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of really, really good-hearted people to make that happen. So,
and you're not kidding. You're not kidding. And here's a shout out to everybody, right?
Exactly. Everybody that's involved.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for what you're doing.
Yep.
They're all volunteers. We have never. And here's the thing. This is the thing. And you're the classic example. We didn't ask you. I didn't. The foundation didn't find you and say, "Hey, would you help?"
No,
we don't do that. We never have, and we never will. It's all organic growth. The conduit in this case, your case, was Tommy.
Right.
And Tommy didn't pressure you either. He's like, "Hey, here's his business card. Check it out."
Yep.
Sort of thing. And when you got around to it, you looked at it, and you're like, "Hey, I'm going to give these dudes a call."
Yep.
Right. And the next thing you know, we're delivering combat wounded Purple Heart recipients up to Seward, Alaska. So you can go out, in America's, in the last frontier and just go rip some lips and have an amazing time.
Absolutely. No agenda, no nothing. It just,
nothing.
I know that for a fact that when I wind down in the fall and I get to go spend time out there in the wild, just sitting in the woods, listening to the birds chirp, watching the squirrel play around, I am so relaxed. It allows me to come to peace and come to terms with a lot of things that are going on and have gone on. It's spiritual, it's physical, it's emotional. Just getting back in touch with nature. A lot of people forget just how much that means. And a lot of times, being a fishing charter captain out there in the water, I laugh and joke and have a good time with these people. And even sometimes I forget that it's not always about a big fish. They just want to go out there and enjoy the scenery.
Exactly.
They want to see some whales. They want to catch a fish. It doesn't have to be a monster all the time. They just want to go out there and get back in touch with it and have a good time with it. And,
That's right.
Here I am, if we have a bad day catching, we don't catch that much fish. Out of everybody on the whole boat, I'm the one that feels the worst because I should have been able to do better for them. But, not everybody can have a gangbuster day every day. That just doesn't happen.
That's right. You make a really good point. For guys like, me and you that, and I think the heroes too, that, a big part of it is just this idea of reconnecting, with nature. That is certainly a big piece of it.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely. Yep.
When you start layering some other things on there, and I'll give you an example, and other things like, an organization, an entity like the WWIA, or I know others are doing it as well. But when an organization, is bringing a leadership component to it, and they're not asking you as the client to do anything other than say yes and pack your bag and follow the operations order that we wrote the best you can. Get on a plane, go someplace and do something. And in this case, they're going up to one of the, the most pristine and wonderful places in the world. That's why they call it the last frontier. I mean, it will blow you away.
Agreed. Yes.
And and so you get to go do that, but nobody's asking for anything. We're not asking you to do anything besides show up, meet these people, and psychologically, it's got to be. I know it is. It's not got to be. It is impactful.
Right.
When people who you don't know are giving of their resource, sharing of their time, their expertise, for no other reason than to say thank you, and as to be an enabler in your case, and in all the other cases out there, an enabler for them, a pathway back to nature, a pathway back to, connection with their fellow, service members. And when you start layering those things together, that's where we came up with Honor, Connect, Heal.
Yep.
There's healing in honoring what they did. There's healing in the connective, the connectivity, if you will, and connections to nature and connections to people, and connections to each other. And all of that, there's a healing component to that. I mean, when they get back home after that amazing event, you've just provided some memories for the rest of their life.
Yep.
They can't change that.
It is. It is amazing to see the change. In people over the 5 days that they're up there on my event. A lot of times when they show up there, They're, a little bit hesitant. You can see some of the pain in their eyes, if they're going through some things. It takes about a day to start loosening up, and it's amazing how, I mentioned that I miss the camaraderie of being on active duty.
Yeah.
Just the familiarity. It doesn't matter what service you were in or where you were, what you did.
Right.
A lot of people miss that. And when you get a group of 4 or 5 or 6 together that have similar, experiences, it's amazing how quickly you see them become comfortable, start smiling, laughing and joking, having a good time.
That's right.
And
that's right.
To me, that's what it is. It's, let's show these people a good time. Let them come around at their own pace.
Right.
Don't push anybody. Laugh, joke, have a good time. Everybody, let's eat some good food. Home cooked fish. This is some of the fish you just caught today. I'm going to show you how to cook it. It's a really simple recipe. Try this.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do.
You do great with that. Your reputation precedes you as a. And I've seen your stuff on Facebook. I comment on a lot. You really, you and I share that as well. And I love to cook, and especially seafood. Like if you said to me, like, okay, hey, you got 3 things to cook here, and tomorrow's your last day on the planet. One of those things I'm going to cook, I guarantee you, is a piece of whitefish.
Absolutely.
I just love cooking, fish the way I like it, and it's delicious protein. It's even better when I can say I caught it, but that's pretty neat, man. You got it. I mean, that's essentially the formula. I mean, that's it. It's not magic.
Right.
It's, and when you have, I think last count we had 42 missions this year. We're closing in on 42. It might be a little more than that because we added a couple late runners here, but that's a lot, and it's a lot. To keep all that, going and the staff is very busy, and of course I'm always coming up with, new ideas and things that, I think, help us become stronger. And so everybody's very, very busy, and we try to make all that work that goes into this thing just transparent for you, the host, although you guys are involved, from the get-go in the planning, but, my team tries to make it an easy lift for you because we know that when the heroes show up, it's game on. Yep. For you, and you prepped and planned and got all your stuff together, and your kit and your fishing equipment, your boat, your home, all these things, your community, you got energized. There's a ton of work that goes into it, but if your heart's in it, I mean, that's the difference right there, John. I mean, we didn't ask you to do this. You found us and said, I wanted to do it. Yep. That's a volunteer.
Exactly.
Right.
And I have to compliment your staff. They do a phenomenal job of arranging all the travel and picking out people to come up there. It's an honor. To me, it's an honor to be able to do this.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it great, buddy. You really are. I'm proud of you. I really am. And is there anybody on your team, in your community, that you want to shout out?
Even with no assistance from anybody else, I made it clear from the get-go that if you were able to get those warriors to Seward, Alaska, 100% of everything would be covered by me.
Yeah,
their fishing, their lodging, their fish processing for the airplane. 100% of everything would be covered by me. I started talking to a few different people. The American Legion up there, Seward Post 5, is one of the most active American Legion posts in Alaska. And I'm going to say, for a small post, nationwide, they've got to be in the top 10% as far as their actions, their activities, their donations, everything else. They're a very, very active group. And they help out quite a bit. They have a Friday night ribeye steak dinner. They donate those for the Wounded Warriors. Their whole mission is active duty first, and then veterans, and then veterans' families, and children and youth, and community, in that order for who they help out.
That's cool.
And I've very, very seldom is anybody turned away. And it's not because of financial. It would be from something that, they come in too many times asking for assistance. Yeah. It becomes habitual. Yeah. And then they're not turned away. People actually go to their house and help them do something to help in a different way. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's how committed the people in that post are to helping people out.
American Legion Post 5 out of Seward, right?
Yep.
God bless you guys.
And of course,
we appreciate you.
It's a family organization. You've got the post, mm-hmm. which is the active duty. You have the auxiliary, which in history was the female spouse.
That's right.
And then you have the Sons American Legion, which is the male descendants. But things have changed over the past few years. So, there's, mm-hmm. it's not just male and female. You can be mm-hmm. either sex in either one of those.
Yeah. So, just a great community of support there, and one of the more magical places. I took my sister and her first husband. They flew into Alaska when I was up there, and we went to a little place called Port Fidalgo, uh-huh. and in the Prince William Sound, and it was one of the places that the Exxon Valdez incident did not touch. It was pristine, mm-hmm. and I met a guy. I don't remember where he was out of, Homer, I think maybe. Anyway, who had a piece of property in Port Fidalgo. The only way you could get there was by plane or by boat. That was it. And float plane. There's no airport. And he had a little fishing boat and a shack, literally a shack on the beach, and then a geodesic dome about 200 or 300 meters up the side of a mountain. Mm-hmm. It was crazy, man. And so I did this adventure. I won't bore you with the details, but we went fishing. And I remember Frank, my sister's husband at the time, he was just, from Minnesota, and we're out there doing this thing. And like, you could just see he's one of those guys that had never, he's an outdoorsman. He did a lot of climbing and things like this, but he just kept saying the same thing. He would go, "Wow, yep. Phenomenal." just wow.
Exactly. I still do that
phenomenal.
On my boat.
Phenomenal.
Yep. I still do that on my boat every day. The view out my office window is just terrible,
Yeah, I bet. No, I know. And I was just like, and it was just like, that was he was expressing what I had been feeling. Yep. And just wasn't orating it, for my whole time up there, because every time you turn around in Alaska is another one of those, wow, phenomenal, because exactly. You can't make it up. I mean, nature's landscape and the topography and all of the splendor and grandness and wide open spaces, and oh my goodness, it's an amazing place, man. When I was up there, I was just knocking the bottom out of it, like as often as I could. I was hunting, fishing, exploring, and I just, man, I had a wonderful time. So I'm it's great to be connected with you and share some of those memories and those stories, John.
Yep, it's a phenomenal place. I agree. I just got back down here to Wisconsin about 10 days ago, and I already missed it. I was raised.
Oh, you're in Wisconsin right now.
I am. Yep.
Awesome. Well, you got to go see Tommy.
Well, yeah, I gotta wait for the temperatures to cool down a little bit so I can do a little archery hunting. And
are you going to go hunt?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Well, good. Well, hey, man, if you knock one down, you got to send me a picture.
All right. Yeah, I'm not a trophy hunter. I'm a meat hunter.
Yeah, me too.
I love, year and a half old, 2.5-year-old right in there, corn fed, soybean fed.
Yep. I know, nothing better than a venison tenderloin or backstrap, man. I mean, that's just that's phenomenal.
A good pan seared and cooked in brown mushroom gravy with Yukon Gold potatoes. Come on.
Yeah. No, I do this. I don't do it very often because it's it's a reduction sauce, but it's it's an amazing. It's got juniper berries in it, oranges, dehydrated cherries, orange juice. Tarragon, all these wonderful things in this reduction, and then it simmers for a while. It reduces. You strain it, and then at the last minute you whisk in like a stick of unsalted butter into this concoction, pull out half of the plump cherries and use that as the garnish, drizzle the sauce over the top of your tenderloins or backstrap. There's not a person in the room that's not licking their plate. I'm telling you the truth, man. I've seen it many times, and they're like, "That's venison." And he goes, "That's venison."
Yeah, it is. That's real
unbelievable, man.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Well, you are a great American. I'm going to give you the last whack at the piñata here, John. Is there anything you want to share with us that you'd like to?
Yeah, I'm actually going to put in a plug for Captain Jack's Seafood Processing in Seward, Alaska.
Awesome.
Tell
us about Jack.
All 11 years, Captain Jack's. They vacuum seal and freeze the fish. They box it up for the airplane. They've done 100% donation for every pound of fish that we've caught every year for 11 years.
Wow. Captain Jack's. I love it.
Yep.
Captain Jack's Seafood Locker.
Yep. You can also buy stuff from them.
You can?
They ship it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you want.
Can I get do you think they got like a king crab?
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing that.
Ship king crab, king salmon, silver salmon, halibut. It's a little more expensive than getting it from Costco or something like that. But
sure.
It's coming right there from those waters, fresh.
Absolutely. Captain Jack's Seafood Locker.
Yep. And for their sales like that, they actually buy that fish from the fishermen and fillet it themselves and package it themselves while it's still fresh. And then it's frozen. The fish that we catch on a daily basis is filleted and frozen within 12 hours. You're not going to get any fresher fish anywhere. So
that's awesome.
So there's a plug for that. And
awesome.
I just want to say thank you for sending all those people up. I've met a lot of great people. Had a great time. I think one of my most memorable conversations out there on a boat about 7 or 8 years ago. I was walking around a boat, baiting hooks and stuff like that, catching fish, and we're doing pretty good. We're having a pretty good day. And there's this guy named John on the boat, one of the warriors sent up. And I said, so basically, what's your story? What happened to you? And he goes, well, I played catch with an RPG and I lost. I looked at him and I said, what do you mean you lost? Well, I'm missing some ribs over my heart and my elbow is stainless and stuff like that. And I said, well, we figured out this rig to help you, with this Velcro strap and stuff to help hold the rod. Right now, you're hooked up to about a 70-pound halibut in one of the most beautiful places on the planet. Maybe you ought to change the way you look at it. I would say, nice catch. You're still here.
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me like, wow, never thought about it that way. But yeah, you're right. So shout out to John over there in Michigan. If he hears this, he'll know who he was.
Right on.
So,
yeah, their resilience is incredible. It's inspirational. It really is to be around them. That's and if it wasn't, for me, quite frankly, I don't talk a lot about that, but that's a huge piece for me is just to be around Americans. Great Americans who serve their country, who were actually wounded in combat and made their way through it, and to be part of their healing journey, or they're part of that. Expressing my personal gratitude for what you did, for being essentially in the wrong place at the wrong time because you were ordered to be there.
Absolutely.
And right, and just being brave enough to be there and do that, knowing what possibly could happen to you.
Right. I served. I signed that same bottom line. No, I was not put in that type of position. And that's just my way of saying thank you. You did what you said you was going to do. You carried on with it.
That's right.
You're suffering, but thank you. Thank you so much for what you did.
Absolutely. That's it, man.
What it's about.
I don't think. Yeah. And then for all the guys out there and gals out there who didn't serve for whatever reason, it was an all volunteer army,
Exactly.
The last draft we had was, I think in Vietnam. So, but there, many of them are supporting the foundation, to as a way of expressing their gratitude. And I think it's extremely, I know it's extremely gratifying for them as well. That those that that didn't serve, to be able to rub elbows with some of these great Americans who, who did bleed in our nation's uniform.
Exactly.
And came back to, live to tell about it. But yeah, I mean, that's what this is about. We got to keep the foot on the gas pedal here and keep doing what we can to improve our missions, expand our services so that we, that we can continue to help them, because, this is like a lifetime contract, man. As far as I'm concerned, you go off and get wounded, the foundation's here for the rest of your life, man. I mean, this is, and it's not, as you know, it's not just about hunting and fishing, it's about the relationships.
Yep.
And that this idea of, feeling good about what you did. And we're trying to,
exactly, the healing, the friendships,
that's right.
Showing somebody that, you can't just sit around boo-hooing about, you got injured. You can still enjoy this stuff. You might have to do things different than you did before you were injured, depending on what happened, but it's still there. It's still available, and you can still enjoy it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, John, thank you very much. John Moline from Current Affair Charters up there in Alaska and Seward. You're out of your business is out of Seward, right?
Yes, it is. Uh-huh.
Out of Seward. Okay. So folks know how to get a hold of you. Thanks for all you do. God bless you. And we appreciate your service to our country while you're wearing our two different uniforms, our Navy uniform and our Army uniform. So, John, thank you for all you do. God bless you. You're helping change lives, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You have a great
day.
Yep. You have a great day, sir.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the WWIA Podcast. To learn more about the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation and how you can get involved, please visit our website at WWIAF.org or follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you'd like to comment or offer feedback about our podcast, or if you have a suggestion for a future episode, please email us at podcast@WWIAF.org. Thank you for your support and for helping us honor, connect, and heal our combat wounded Purple Heart heroes through the power of the great outdoors.